Our big focus on India first.
Hello and welcome to an India Today special broadcast that comes to you from Paris. I'm Gaurav Sawant. We are currently standing outside the Plaza Athene Hotel. This is where Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to arrive in a short while from now. This is a two-day state visit to Paris, and President Macron is rolling out the red carpet for Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Over the course of the next half hour, we get you all the details of this bonhomie and dosti in Paris. This is India and France taking the bilateral relationship altogether to a new level. That's the focus, not restricted just to defense or strategic ties, but for cooperation, as India's ambassador to France told me in an interview just a short while back, in every walk of life, in every sphere of life, from railways to telecommunication to investment to infrastructure. Lots more over the course of the next half hour. But first, as always, the headlines on India First. National capital on flood alert. Yamuna water level breaches the all-time high for the first time in 45 years. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal holds an emergency meeting. Section 144 imposed in flood-impacted areas. BJP deploys a fact-finding team in Bengal amid Panchayat poll violence. Targets Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee over deaths. Chief Minister claims a conspiracy and blames the BJP for engineering the violence. Former Karnataka Chief Minister Bommai leads protests over Jen Sears murder, claims failing law and order situation under Siddaramaiah government. BJP demands a CBI investigation into the monk's death. CEO and MD of a Bengaluru startup tech firm hacked to death. Double murder accused, also known as Joker Felix, arrested. Employees killed over professional rivalry. India's retail inflation jumps to a three-month high of 4.81% in June. Industrial production growth rose to 5.2% in May, up from 4.2% in April. But I want to begin with a big story. France is rolling out the red carpet for Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He will be the guest of honor at the Bastille Day parade. But the Prime Minister, just as soon as he lands, will be given a Tri-Services Guard of Honor at the airport the moment his aircraft arrives. It's tentatively around 12:30 Paris time on the 13th of July. He will be received at the airport, and right from that point on, France is literally laying out the red carpet, and it's not just restricted to the Tri-Services Guard of Honor at the airport or the grand reception that's for the Prime Minister, but even later, President Macron, for the first time, the Louvre, the world-famous French museum, it has lakhs and lakhs of artifacts from across the world. Louvre will be closed to the public when a banquet is being hosted for Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The French President Emmanuel Macron will take Prime Minister Narendra Modi around the Louvre, show him the best of what France has to offer. Lakhs and lakhs of tourists from across the world visit Louvre every year. This time, of course, for the first time, it's being shut and for the state banquet. And this is the first time ever that a state banquet is being organized at the French Museum. In the past, yes, there have been private dinners for visiting dignitaries, but never a state banquet. The Prime Minister will also, after a gap of 4 years, more than 4 years, be a part of the CEO's forum. The Prime Minister of India and the President of France, they'll be together, and the CEO's forum is extremely important because the CEOs will talk about their roadmap of taking the relationship forward, and in case they're facing roadblocks, the Prime Minister of India and the President of France, they will give out their vision. This is India and France in the year 2023. They're celebrating the Silver Jubilee, 25 years of the strategic partnership. Now the two heads of state and government will lay out the roadmap of taking this relationship forward to the next level towards the Golden Jubilee, a relationship that the Indian ambassador to France says will be decisive not just for India, not just for France, but for the world. I spoke to India's ambassador to France, Javed Ashraf, just a short while back. Let's listen in. मेरे साथ फ्रांस में भारत के राजदूत एम्बेसडर जावेद अशरफ हैं। एम्बेसडर साहब, जैसे ही प्रधानमंत्री लैंड करेंगे उसके बाद क्या होगा और इस यात्रा को इस तरह से ऐतिहासिक क्यों माना जा रहा है?
पहले तो आपका भी पेरिस में स्वागत है। आप सही कह रहे हैं, कुछ क्षणों में बड़ी उत्साह के साथ फ्रांस प्रधानमंत्री के आगमन का इंतज़ार कर रहा है। आप स्वयं देखेंगे, खुद देखेंगे कि किस प्रकार से उनका स्वागत होता है एयरपोर्ट पे, एक बड़े विशेष कार्यक्रम से, किस स्तर पे होगा, ये सब मैं इस समय आपको नहीं बताना चाहूँगा, इसे रहस्य रहने दीजिए, आप खुद देख लेंगे। उसके बाद आप हर कार्यक्रम में एक विशेषता देखेंगे जी। एक तरफ तो ये है कि जाहिर है किसी भी देश के राज दिवस में, नेशनल डे में, अगर आपको मुख्य अतिथि के रूप में बुलाया जाए, वो सम्मान दिया जाए, तो ये एक बड़ी विशेष चीज़ होती है। भारत के लिए ये सम्मान की बात है, गौरव की बात है। और इस प्रकार से ट्राई सर्विस कंटिजेंट को यहाँ आमंत्रित करना, राफाल, हमारे एयरफोर्स के राफाल जेट्स को यहाँ भाग लेना, और साथ ही साथ ब्रेस्ट के पोर्ट पे INS चेन्नई जो कल ही आई है यहाँ पे, ये शायद अतुलनीय है। इस प्रकार से हम किसी देश के नेशनल डे में भाग ले रहे हैं। और यहाँ पे जिसने भी रिहर्सल देखा है भारत के ट्राई सर्विस कंटिजेंट का, राजपूताना राइफल के म्यूज़िक का, तो वो हैरान है, वो चौंकन्ना है कि कितनी खूबसूरती से और कितने शान से, कितने मिलिट्री प्रोफेशनलिज्म के साथ ये कंटिजेंट मार्च कर रही है।
ये मेरे को देखने का सौभाग्य भी मिला, फुल ड्रेस रिहर्सल पर मैं वहाँ था शॉज़ेलीज़े पर। लेकिन जैसे ही वो लैंड करेंगे, फ्रांस के राष्ट्रपति ने सुना है उनके लिए कई विशेष आयोजन किए हैं। यहाँ का जो राष्ट्रीय संग्रहालय है उसमें एक विशेष आयोजन है, उसके बारे में आप हमें क्या
सबसे पहले तो ये है कि राष्ट्रपति मैक्रोन खुद ही नाटो समिट से लौट के आएंगे, और उसी दिन कल, आज तो है ही, आपको जैसे जानकारी है, 1-on-1 उनकी एक बड़े लंबे समय की डिनर होगी, वो एलिजे पैलेस में होगी, प्राइवेट डिनर है, और उसमें उनकी बड़ी खुल के दोनों के बीच में चर्चा होगी। एक दूसरे से बड़े अच्छे संबंध है, एक दूसरे के लिए काफ़ी इज्जत करते हैं एक दूसरे को, केमिस्ट्री बड़ी अच्छी है दोनों के बीच में। और कल लूव्र म्यूज़ियम में, जो दुनिया का सबसे प्रख्यात, सबसे बड़ा म्यूज़ियम है, जहाँ सबसे ज़्यादा विज़िटर जाते हैं, आपको जान के हैरानी होगी कि 80 लाख विज़िटर हर साल लूव्र म्यूज़ियम में आते हैं। 3.5 लाख ऑब्जेक्ट्स हैं, उनके आर्टिफैक्ट्स हैं, जो एक समय में करीब 40,000 आर्टिफैक्ट्स एक साथ दिखाए, परमानेंट एग्जिबिट पे रहते हैं। तो ये दुनिया का सबसे मशहूर म्यूज़ियम है। भारत से भी लोग आते हैं, कई, मेरे ख्याल में 2-3 लाख तो हर साल भारत से भी आते होंगे। तो ये बड़ी रेयर चीज़ है कि लूव्र म्यूज़ियम को 14 जुलाई के दिन बंद कर दिया जाए, और वहाँ पे राष्ट्रपति एक बैंक्वेट प्रधानमंत्री के लिए कर रहे हैं। आमतौर से वो कई और जगह करते हैं, एलिजे पैलेस में करते हैं। तो ये एक बहुत बड़ा सम्मान की बहुत बड़े सम्मान की बात है, एक तरह से विशेष जेस्चर है। और जेस्चर संकेत हमेशा करता है कि आप किस देश को, किस व्यक्ति को कितना सम्मान देना चाहते हैं, उसके बारे में क्या सोचते हैं।
And this is just the first part. This is a visit which is very high on symbolism. It's a visit that's equally high on the substantive outcomes. And one of those outcomes, of course, may just be the AMCA engines for the 5th generation fighter jets. Those aircraft engines to be co-developed and co-manufactured by India and France together. So joint research, joint development, joint production and certification. Certification becomes extremely important, and this is the level of trust that India and France have been able to build together over the past decades and hope to take forward in the decades ahead. So when research happens for manufacturing future technologies, and not just restricted to fighter jet engines or helicopter engines, but for space and undersea subsurface technologies, it just shows how wide is the gamut of this relationship. We bring you this report.
It's India's most ambitious aircraft program, aimed at creating a combat stealth fighter comparable with the best in the world. It doesn't even have an official name yet, going just by the acronym AMCA, short for Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft. But this program is all set to receive a major push. Because with Prime Minister Modi in Paris this week, the all-important issue of the engines that will power the AMCA could be sealed. Top sources tell India Today that India and France are in advanced talks to co-develop a jet engine for the AMCA. The French partner Safran is the same company that builds the engines that power the Rafale fighters, including those in Indian service. The Indian partner will be the state-run Defence Research and Development Organisation, which has so far failed to develop a usable jet engine. The Indian private sector could also be involved. As India Today has reported, a deal for 26 more Rafales, this time for the Indian Navy, is likely to be announced during Modi's 2-day stay in Paris. Last month, India and the United States shook hands on a deal to assemble General Electric fighter engines in India for the Mark II version of India's light combat aircraft. But it appears that it will be France and not the United States that will help power the AMCA. The AMCA is a crucial futuristic aircraft that will meet the Indian Air Force's needs when it potentially comes online in the 2030s. The 5th generation program is currently building a prototype technology demonstrator with a first flight aimed for 2027. If its engines are firmed up soon, these jets could enter service in the next decade. Built for stealth, these jets will be inducted in large numbers as a deterrent and for deep penetration, punitive attacks over enemy territory. Watch this space as we keep track of the Indian Prime Minister's Paris visit. With Gaurav Sawant in Paris, Bureau Report, India Today.
But it's not just fighter jets and it's not just fighter jet engines. India is a growing economy, and in India, there's a huge requirement of helicopters and helicopter engines. The warhorse of the Indian Air Force has been the Mi-17 helicopters, but India is also looking ahead. The 3 services, Army, Navy and Air Force, the Coast Guard, the private sector, all of them require thousands of helicopters, and those helicopters, if made in India, spur the domestic helicopter industry. But what's also required and equally important is for those helicopter engines to be made in India. India and France have been cooperating very extensively on helicopters. India bought the Alouette helicopters, the Cheetahs and the Chetaks, with the Shakti engines, the Cheetals. But now the effort is to take this relationship altogether to a new level. And this again promises to be a game changer for Indian aviation.
India's Dhruv Advanced Light Helicopter. India's Rudra Weaponized Helicopter. India's Prachand Attack Helicopter. All proud homegrown helicopters in service with the Indian Armed Forces. But there's another thing that unites them. All three are powered by the Indo-French Shakti Ardiden helicopter engine. Nearly 300 of these engines are currently in service across helicopter types, powering India's very own rotorcraft since 2007. But now the old and tested Indo-French partnership on chopper engines is all set to rise to the next level. India's next big helicopter program, called the IMRH or Indian Multi-Role Helicopter, is in the pipeline via Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. Heavier, more capable than its smaller cousins, and intended to be a future workhorse on par with the current Mi-17 fleet, the IMRH needs a more powerful helicopter engine. And that's where the Indo-French partnership is set to kick into a higher gear. When Prime Minister Modi is in Paris this week, talks are likely to move to an advanced stage on the co-development of this new proposed engine, and will also include total technology transfer of the existing Shakti engine. In other words, a big win for both countries. French technology continuing to power our helicopters, and India gaining from acquiring the entire technology for a true Make in India project. A relationship that began in the sphere of choppers back in 1961 is all set to fly ever higher. With Gaurav Sawant in Paris, Bureau Report, India Today.
Today's Shiv Arur for more on this. Shiv, you understand the nuts and bolts of aircraft engines and how critical they are for the aircraft, but specifically fighter jet engines, especially for the next generation stealth fighter jets, where you'd want radar signatures to be low, where you wouldn't want the reheat or the afterburners on when you go supersonic. But Shiv, explain to our viewers the level of trust it would take if India and France were to start on a fighter jet engine, for futuristic fighter jet engine, right from the drawing board stage.
You know, Gaurav, literally and metaphorically, this takes things completely to the next level. Because, it's one thing to purchase fighter aircraft like, the Rafale from France. It's entirely another proposition to co-develop and propose to co-manufacture an all-new aircraft engine, and that too for a very futuristic fighter like the 5th generation AMCA that India hopes to see come online in the next decade. Now, India and France have been for quite a few years trying to hammer out some kind of a partnership, because the truth is that for all of India's successes in indigenous defense development, it has not been successful in developing and delivering a credible jet engine for its military aircraft. And that's the reason why we've had to look abroad. Recently, you saw India and the United States partner up to assemble the GE F414 engine here in India for the Mark II version of the light combat aircraft. But for the AMCA, which is a much more futuristic advanced aircraft, that door has still been left open, and therefore the company Safran, which makes the engines for the Rafale fighters, which, as you know, are in service with the Indian Air Force, and more are likely to be ordered and announced by the Prime Minister in Paris, that same company and India's DRDO are likely to partner up to co-develop this all-new engine for the AMCA fighter aircraft. So it's extremely complex, it's difficult, it's going to take a lot of effort, it's going to take a lot of money. It's a path that India has taken before and actually not been successful. So it's crucial that India actually gets this right. France has a great deal of experience in building aircraft engines. Like I said, the engine that powers the Rafale is built by a French company as well. So as far as technology is concerned, I think it's something to look forward to. The only concern is, hopefully, co-development means co-development and not the usual case where India basically bankrolls someone developing it on their soil. It needs to be real development where India benefits from all the know-how and exchange.
Oh, absolutely, Shiv. That's the story we'll be keeping an eye out for. Shiv, for the moment, many thanks for joining me, because when two countries sit together and put that first line on the paper together, when they think together, when they think alike, and then when they come up with a fighter jet engine, it truly promises to be a game changer and extremely important for India to get the metallurgy right. That's something that has been India's Achilles heel, the fighter jet engines, the metallurgy. That's very, very critical. We'll be tracking that story. But on ground, let's also now talk about some of the nice symbolism, some of the symbolism of India-France relationship. The Punjab Regiment, for example, very proud of the fact that in the First World War and the Second World War fought shoulder to shoulder with the French forces here. France and Flanders is a battle honour that the Punjab Regiment wears with great pride. The Rajputana Rifles Regiment once again, and they were all there at Champs-Élysées, barely a kilometre from where we are right now. They march past the saluting desk very smartly. I covered the dress rehearsal of that parade on board. I was with the French army in one of their jeeps. We bring you this report.
The streets of Paris are abuzz with excitement in anticipation for Prime Minister Modi's visit to France. Preparations are underway for the upcoming Bastille Day parade in Paris. And India today has been given exclusive access to these historic preparations.
This is where Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the French President Emmanuel Macron will be watching the parade. Let me show you those images of the Indian contingent. That is the Indian Navy contingent. Up ahead is the Indian Army Rajputana Rifles marching band, and right in the beginning of the parade, that is the Punjab Regiment.
On the upcoming landmark day for India-France relations, the French military will be joined by the Indian military as they march together.
More than 6,000.
6,000?
Yeah, 6,000 French personnel in total, including your contingent with us. A very good experience. I did not know much about the Indian contingent before they came to France a week ago. And since that, I can tell we have very good relationships.
We have a tri-services contingent from the Army, Navy and the Air Force, and the band from the Indian Army, which are currently here to participate in the Bastille Day Parade. Now, alongside this, we also have two more representations, and that is, one is INS Chennai, which is coming to Brest tomorrow, and shall also be participating in the Bastille Day Parade at Brest. So we also have the representation there.
France and India have expressed both pride and excitement for the upcoming events and ongoing cooperation efforts.
It's very honor for us because we were operating 6 months ago off the coast of Goa with Indian Navy and Indian Air Force, and today being together for the 25th anniversary of our strategic partnership is very an honor for us. It's very powerful. It's a lot of meaning for the future.
This is an international friendship that has stood the test of time. The importance of this 25-year-plus military history is not lost on Indian officers, especially to the Punjab Regiment that has been sent with the army, who wear French honours from World War I to this day.
More than 900 soldiers from the Punjab Regiment shed their blood on the soil of this very own territory that we are standing right now, and so it is a matter of huge pride for me, for my regiment and for the Indian Army to be able to have this amazing opportunity to march on Champs-Élysées on Bastille Day Military Parade.
The relationship spanning decades has translated to seamless defence ties today as well between India and France.
We have the old helicopters from the French, and we've taken the, for suppose Alouette helicopter, we've taken the Alouette helicopter, and we've changed the engine to our own powerful engine, and then we've converted into something called Cheetal. And Cheetal is something that flies at the highest battlefield, and that is what is sustaining all the troops at the Siachen Glacier.
With Prime Minister Modi as the chief guest in the upcoming parade, India and France will honor their golden past and are looking at an even more prosperous future. With Gaurav Sawant in Paris, Bureau Report, India Today.
So just as the dress rehearsal got over, you heard chants of Bol Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Ki Jai that came from the Navy. Then there were chants of Jo Bole Sonehal, Sat Sri Akal. And not just the Indian soldiers, but even some of the French soldiers who've been hearing these war cries, they joined in. That's the camaraderie between India and France on ground, and of the leadership that we shall see over the next 48 hours. That is all I have for you on this special broadcast from Paris. Many thanks for watching. News and updates continue on India Today. Abha Bakaya up next with Business Today. Stay with us.
Armed with facts, she takes the news by its horns.
Do you think the future of these students are not hampered?
Fierce, bold and direct, setting the tone for the biggest stories from every corner and every angle. Expect nothing but the unfiltered truth.
News first, niceties later. Watch me, Nabila Jamal, on India Today.
Now, the government has all but ruled out central support to the free rice scheme announced by Karnataka. Without naming any state, the government has said that if the promise of 5 kilos of free rice were to be kept by all states, the distribution would exceed the annual rice production. The Karnataka government had on Monday begun direct cash transfers in lieu of its rice guarantee scheme, transferring 170 rupees to each of its 1.28 crore ration card holders.
एक राज्य को हम निर्णय लें कि हम उसको 5 किलो और PMGKY बेनिफिशरीज को देंगे उसी राज्य में, तो अगर आप एक कल्पना करें कि सब राज्य जो 36 हमारे स्टेट्स और यूटीज़ हैं, अगर सब राज्य ऐसा निर्णय लें कि हम 5 किलो अधिक सबको देंगे PMGKY बेनिफिशरीज को, तो मैं आपको तथ्य बताना चाहूँगा कि 360 लाख टन हमारी रिक्वायरमेंट है चावल की प्रत्येक वर्ष PMGKY के तहत। तो अगर हम 5 किलो अधिक देना शुरू करें तो 720 लाख टन हमारी हो जाती है रिक्वायरमेंट फॉर राइस अंडर PMGKY प्लस 5 kg एक्स्ट्रा अगर हम उसको निर्णय ले देने का। हमारी टोटल प्रोक्योरमेंट स्टेट कंट्री में पूरे देश की प्रोक्योरमेंट चावल की होती है करीबन 560-570 लाख टन। तो ये बाकी का जो है 150 लाख टन चावल, तो ये कैसे हम इसको कर पाएंगे।
Hey, Mishri, only step pistol.
Strawberry, grape, banana, so much fun, na 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 na. Those webs! इतना सारा चॉकलेट है मजा। आपी, ये लो। तू कब से शेयर करने लगा? आज से। नटखट वाली खिड़की, थोड़ी सी खुली।
This is how sugar is sold to us. Candies, chocolates, cereals loaded with sugar.
Milk biscuit bhi rakh lo.
Advertisements that make these products sound harmless, even essential for joyous occasions, celebrations, love and friendship. Those involved in nutrition advocacy raise concerns over how sugar is sold and how governments choose to look the other way when it comes to wrong messaging. Recently, Nutrition Advocacy in Public Health called out Amitabh Bachchan for promoting a biscuit as an alternative to real food in this promotion. Big B faced some amount of backlash. But Big B is not the only one. Actor Pankaj Tripathi also faced backlash for promoting biscuits, saying it is made of whole wheat when it was not. Celebrity endorsements are really not new. However, they are now being frowned upon.
It's because of the whole onslaught of the food industry advertisements
emotionally exploiting people. That's where the government has to spend almost equal amount of money if they really want to reach out to people to tell people the risks of high sugar products. If a food product is high sugar containing 10%, it should be banned for marketing.
A study published in PubMed has shown specifically that high sugar food and beverage advertising promotes the consumption of high sugar food items in children. The impact of it is obviously telling.
We do get children who need help in that, who are living on soft drinks or candy or whatever. It damages their teeth, of course, but long term, it has a major impact on their metabolic health. We know that childhood obesity is increasing in India. We know that diabetes in the young is increasing in India. We know that many young children nowadays, because of weight and others, are actually getting high blood pressure and cholesterol problems. And a lot of that can be linked to just increase in sugar intake.
From the miracle of 1983 to becoming the first-time host in 1987.
The More versus Miadad of 1992 to the Prasad versus Amir Sohail of 1996.
And then, of course, the high of 2011 with Mahendra Singh Dhoni finishing it off in style.
He finishes off in style. A magnificent strike into the crowd. India lift the World Cup after 28 years.
Relive India's journey at the Cricket World Cup from 1983 to the last edition in 2019 with me, Rajdeep Sardesai.
And me, Nikhil Nas. World Cup Rewind at these times on India Today.
Hello and welcome. You're with us here on Business Today. I'm Abha Bakaya. Here are the day's top stories. GST Council levies 28% tax on online gaming, recommends casino horse racing to be taxed at the uniform rate of 28% on full value. Industry reacts sharply, calls it a killer blow which could wipe out the e-gaming industry. Online gaming stocks plunge in today's trade. Owning a large utility vehicle, an SUV or an MPV could get expensive as GST Council has raised the cess on utility vehicles from 20 to 22%. GST Council has, however, reduced the tax on food and beverages sold at multiplexes, which will now attract a GST of 5% instead of 18%. A sharp fall in the last hour dragged Nifty below 19,400. Sensex Nifty settled lower after 3 days of rally. IT shares were top laggards ahead of Q1 earnings. The country's largest software exporter, TCS, reported a 16.83% jump in its June quarter. Net profit at 11,074 crores. However, records slowest June quarter growth in a decade, excluding the COVID period. HCL Tech's Q1 profit dips over 11%, pays 10 rupee dividend per share. India's retail inflation surged to 4.81% in June after hitting a 25-month low of 4.25% in May. India's industrial production growth rose to 5.2% in May, up from 4.2% in April. In what could provide a relief to consumers from sky-high tomato prices, the Department of Consumer Affairs has directed to procure of tomatoes from Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka and Maharashtra for distribution in Delhi NCR at discounted prices. A day after the GST Council bowled a tax googly at India's online gaming industry, the move has led to fears that this will be a killer blow for the sector. Here's why online gaming, an industry estimated to be about 25,000 crore rupees, has been sent back to the pavilion by an umpire in a repeat of how the crypto sector was taxed into oblivion 2 years ago. Listen in to what the Finance Minister has said on the decisions taken.
online gaming, horse racing, and casinos will be taxed. They will be taxed at 28%, each one, and they will be taxed on full face value. The discussion also looked at what is skill-based and what is chance-based. Whatever be the decision on each of the game being either skill or chance-based, or being both or being neither, is not what we are looking at. We are purely looking at that which is being taxed because it creates value, profit is being made, or a wager is being levied. Based on the wager, people earn windfall, which is what is betting all about. So that's what we've been talking about, and therefore today's decision looks at that aspect of what is to be taxed at what rate.
The online gaming industry had been waiting for the final decision of the GST Council with bated breath. And on Tuesday, the center state body of the finance ministers dealt the sector a killer blow. Not only was the rate of GST increased to 28%, the tax will now be levied on the full value, the entire bet amount in the game. Moreover, the GST Council has removed the distinction between game of skill and game of chance. The enhanced levy comes on top of the 30% tax deducted at source that is already applicable to the sector. In effect, the sector will now be taxed at over 50%. Experts see this as a massive setback for the industry. The government disagrees. Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said the decision to levy maximum tax on online gaming in casinos was not intended to kill the industry, but was considering the moral question that it cannot be taxed at par with essential commodities. Explaining the rationale, Sitharaman said it was impractical to meet the industry demand for levy of tax on platform fee.
So it is impossible to pierce that veil of veil which brings opacity on how actually it is operated, and then say, no, I know what happens inside, therefore I'll only go by that. I'll go following every fellow, every tourist, and say, are you playing at this table? Are you paying at that table? How much pay you pay? Impossible to execute. So the discussion went thoroughly.
The reactions are coming in fast and furious. A day after the announcement, Ashnil Grover, the ousted co-founder of Bharat Pay and former Shark Tank India judge, tweeted, "India is super fun, super ironic. Uncles sipping on their drinks, smoke in hand, bragging about how they made their fortunes in land speculation by putting their cash to good use, planning their next casino trip to Macau, and passing judgment on online gaming and how it's spoiling the youth. Would love to see government introduce 28% GST and 20% TCS on land purchases." Bureau Report, Business Today TV.
Stocks of listed companies in online gaming saw a sharp knee-jerk reaction in today's trade. BTTV's managing editor Siddharth Zarabi spoke to Nitish Mittal Sen, Joint MD Nazara Tech, and Roland Lander, CEO All India Gaming Federation, to find out what could be the ramifications on the entire industry if the GST levy is implemented.
There is a moral question involved in this. Online gaming cannot be treated at the same level as essential commodities when it comes to taxation. Your first thoughts on this?
Yeah, thanks, Siddharth. So, I just wanted to lay the facts here so that you and your viewers can get a sense of, the impact. The thing is that from the moment, so we have to look at the ecosystem, which is made up of the game developers, the gaming platforms, and then the gamers themselves, the consumers, right? So if you look at the impact on the gaming companies or the platforms, then moving from the methodology of valuation from GGR to the face value, as has been highlighted in the press con yesterday, that is going to be a 1100% impact. Coming to the gamer, for him or her, the participation in a game is going to get more expensive by 300% or 3x, 3 times more expensive. And for the gaming platform, coming back to the platforms, the revenue, the valuation methodology of face value will get more the percentage of tax, indirect tax, will be more than the revenue of the platform. And so that would be the impact. Just wanted to give you a sense of the impact across the gamer and the gaming platform community.
Okay, from your answers, it clearly means that uh, the sector has been dealt a death blow. Do you see it even surviving with the kind of numbers that you have just shared with us?
No, I do not know of any precedent of any other industry or sector that could buffer in or factor in such a impact, such a high impact. Moving from gross gaming revenue methodology, and the rate from 18% to 28 is fine, which is about 50 or percent can be factored into, but 1100% I think is I do not know. I mean, if you are aware of any precedent for any other industry also, there does not seem to be any. So that I think, but at the same time, we are hopeful. Now, what will happen is inadvertently, the gamer would veer towards. That is not the intent, but inadvertently they will veer towards platforms that do not pay GST taxation.
Tell us your first thoughts about this decision to levy a 28% GST, and that too on the entire full value or the bet amount or entry value as it is called for online gaming. Nitish.
Yeah, sure. So this particular decision of the GST is in relation to the real money skill-based gaming, which has become very popular in our country and is the largest revenue driver in online gaming in India. And I think in this, this significant increase in tax or GST has some impact, or I would say significant impact on the business viability of this particular model. In my own company, Nazara, we have limited exposure of only 5% to this particular segment, so there's a minimal impact to us. But if you were to ask me from a skill-based real money gaming industry per se, there would be a much larger impact.
Okay, let's break it down for our viewers to understand. First, earlier the taxation was at 18% on the platform fee. Now it is 28%, but on the entire bid amount. Also, the distinction between games of chance and games of skills has been done away with. Can you help sort of give us an example of, using, let's say, 100 rupees as the full value, and explain what was earlier and what is going to happen now?
Sure. So in the first case, when a consumer or a player would put in 100 rupees in a game, the platform would earn a 10% commission on it. So they would earn 10 rupees. And a 18% GST would be paid on top of that. So let's say approximately 1.8 rupees. Now, in the new regime, on 100 rupees, you would have a GST charge of 28 rupees. So really speaking, the 1.8 becomes 28, which, as you can see, is really a significant jump in the taxation. And what this is going to do is, the amount of winning that the consumer could win back would significantly decrease. And therefore, the incentive to play or participate in such games may reduce. We, of course, will see what happens once it is implemented, but that is what the expectation is.
Along with online gaming, the GST Council made the decision to include all utility vehicles in the 22% cess category, which marks a 2% increase and eliminates the previous varying rate of compensation cess. As a result of the elimination, sport utility vehicles and multipurpose vehicles will now be subject to the new tax bracket. Business Today TV's Chetan Bhutani spoke with Maruti Suzuki's Shashank Srivastava on the impact of the cess and whether this decision could lead to higher prices.
Please clarify the news on the tax incidence on MUVs, which has been increased from 20% to 22%. Has the definition only been changed, or will the consumers have to eventually pay out a 2% extra?
First of all, let me give a caveat first before I explain in detail. The notification hasn't come yet, so we have to see the details of the notification to have a definitive view. However, based on the reports which we have got from the GST Council committee, it seems that there will be some more UVs, the utility vehicles, which will see an increase of 2% of cess. So for your viewers, for clarification, let me say that for clarity and also simplicity, there is a base GST rate of 28%, and over and above there is a cess. The cess is either 20 or it is 22%. So the question which is coming since yesterday is, which vehicles will attract 22% and which will attract 20%? So far, the vehicles which were attracting 22% were to meet 4 conditions. One, they should, as the provisions were, one, they should generally be known as SUV. Second, the length should be more than 4 meters. Third, the engine size should be more than 1.5 liter. And fourth, the ground clearance should be more than 170 mm. These were the 4 conditions. Now, this led to a lot of confusion because what is meant by generally known as SUV was not clear. And as a result, yesterday, the GST Council removed this condition. In other words, even vehicles which are generally not known as SUVs would also come under this category of cess, extra cess, which is 22%. And that means some of the MPVs, which were earlier not being seen as coming under 22% cess, will come under it. That's one part. The other conditions remain the same, which is 4 meter, 1.5 more than 1.5 liter engine, and a 170 millimeter ground clearance. As far as Maruti Suzuki is concerned, there seems to be no impact because the first condition itself, there is in Maruti Suzuki portfolio, there is no vehicle more than 1.5 liter in engine size. So that all conditions are therefore become irrelevant, except that last week we introduced the Invicto, which has a 2 liter engine. But then that is a hybrid vehicle. We have a hybrid version alone, and hybrid vehicles do not attract this higher duty. So Maruti Suzuki vehicles will not be affected. Of course, as I said, we need to study the notification in detail. But this is what it affects.
Ertiga XL6, your prime MPVs have no impact, and the Invicto just being launched will also not be impacted. And what about Grand Vitara, sir? Also the same with the
same. Because the engine size is less than 1.5, so it doesn't attract.
All right, sir. So otherwise, for the overall perspective, sir, for the companies who are actually your rival, I'll speak to them on a differential basis, yes, but these SUVs also will will eventually see a hike of 2%?
Yes, so some of them are already in that bracket of 22%. However, as I said, there are some SUVs and MPVs. Now, of course, MPVs have now come into the ambit of this extra cess. They were earlier not there. But even under SUVs where the ground clearance was more than 170 mm in unladen condition, they were already paying that higher duty.
We take a break. Coming up next, retail inflation snaps its falling streak, rises to 4.81% in June.
do you see consolidation of the electric vehicle industry? Because there are nearly about 350 plus companies in the EV space manufacturing or vendor supplying. So do you see a consolidation of only good amount of players who are manufacturing good products stay in the market, and of course the companies who are actually not, actually who are relying on the FAME subsidy are weeded out?
I think you're already seeing that people who have not focused on innovation and have not focused on technology and engineering, you're already seeing a lot of them folding up. In fact, a lot of smaller players who were just doing assembly of products right here in India and were not following the norms are obviously do not exist anymore. So I would not say that consolidation or not, I don't know. But all I know is that people who can focus on engineering and innovation will be able to survive because that allows them to build products at a cost which consumers can afford. Otherwise, if you are dependent upon the government subsidies, then there is no way out in terms of the cost that you will be able to offer to the consumers. And whoever is able to do that will obviously survive. We had this focus and we started this journey 1.5, 2 years back, even before any one of us were thinking about FAME subsidies. We were prepared for it, and we are going to be prepared for it in the future also. In fact, just this month when we launch S1 Air, which is our most anticipated product, which we believe is going to truly change the nature of the industry and increase the penetration of EVs multifold. I think is going to be a game-changing and disruptive moment at the price that we are launching it, and the kind of product that we are launching is all been possible because of our continuous engineering efforts through the last 1.5, 2 years. So I think whoever continues to do so, consumers are out there to buy EVs. And in fact, after this month, you will see in July, August, and the quarter next, the curve of EV adoption is going to be exponential and primarily led by us because of the products that we are going to launch this month and, of course, on our annual launch day on August 15th.
Welcome back. India's consumer price index CPI inflation rises for the first time in 5 months to 4.81% in June on the back of a jump in vegetable prices. Also, the rise in inflation is higher than the street's expectations. India's industrial production, however, picked up 5.2% in May against 19.7% a year ago. Markets remained volatile for yet another session and ended lower. The Sensex was down 223 points at 65,393 and the Nifty was down 0.3% to close just below 19,400. Broader markets continue to outperform. The Nifty Bank fell sharply from the day's highs to end 100 points lower, and Delta Corp crashed 23% post GST hike announcement on casinos, eroding over 1,500 crore in market cap. Top Nifty gainers today: ONGC, Eicher Motors, Nestle, Kotak Mahindra Bank, SBI Life. Laggards in the session: Adani Enterprise, Tata Motors, Ultratech Cement, Infosys and Adani Ports. Kickstarting earnings season for the April to June quarter, TCS, the largest IT firm in terms of sales, reported a 16.8% year-on-year rise in net profit at 11,074 crore rupees for Q1, largely in line with analyst estimates. Revenue for the quarter came in at 59,381 crore rupees, up 12.5%. Revenue growth in constant currency terms grew 7% year-on-year. The IT giant has also declared an interim dividend of 9 rupees per share and gone ahead with a salary hike to take 200 bips hit on its operating margin. Listen in to what the management had to say going forward.
Moving on to segmental commentary. UK bucked the trend of global demand softness and grew by 16.1%. North America and Europe grew by 4.6% and 3.4%. Our growth markets like India, LATAM and Middle East and Africa all had a strong double-digit growth. Among the verticals, life sciences and healthcare, manufacturing and regional markets and platforms had a strong growth. Life sciences and healthcare grew by 10.1% and manufacturing by 9.4%. Regional markets and platform grew by 16.9%. Among other verticals, BFSI grew by 3%, retail and CPG grew by 5.3%, technology and services grew by 4.4%, and communications and media by 0.5%. Our deal wins continue to be very strong. supporting our belief that investments in technology will remain strong over a long period of time. Our order book closed at 10.2 billion this quarter, marginally higher than last quarter and almost 24% higher than same period last year. We had deal closures worth 5.2 billion in North America, 3 billion in BFSI. Both North America and BFSI being 15% higher than Q1 of last year, and 1.2 billion in retail and CPG. Our attrition continues to improve. On a LTM basis, our IT attrition has reduced to 17.8% from 20.1% in Q4.
We are going to basically pay, 100% of variable pay for 70% of the people, our people, and the rest 30% will get paid based on the business unit performance. Regarding your question on onboarding delay, for many years we always honor all the offers, and that would continue. There are certain delays because of the environment we are in, because of the project delays. Kriti just talked about release 1, release 2, and how things are not getting progressed. As a result of that, the onboarding of those associates also gets delayed. So in certain cases, that is getting delayed, yes. But that is purely based on the project situation. But I commit to today that we are going to honor all the offers.
HCL Tech also reported Q1 earnings, where it recorded a net profit of 3,534 crore rupees. Rupee revenue at 26,296 crore. Earnings before interest and tax margin came in below expectations at 16.9%. However, the company declared a dividend of 10 rupees a share.
In terms of an operating parameters, our EBIT came in at 17%. This is at the same level as our Q1 last year, which was also at 17%. On a sequential basis, it has declined from 18.1% to 17% this quarter. In terms of bookings, as you're all aware, our bookings for the previous 7 quarters have been in the range of 2 billion and above. This quarter, our booking was at $1.6 billion. It's been a little softer. However, I'm very happy to report that our pipeline continues to grow. Last quarter, we did report that our pipeline has grown significantly. It has further grown in a strong way, even in this quarter. And we are very optimistic about the pipeline conversion and its revenue translation. That will help us meet the full year guidance which we have given. Our headcount also declined last quarter by about 2,500 people, primarily due to the fact that we've consciously not backfilled some of our attrition. Double-clicking on our quarterly performance by service line, our IT and business services had a good momentum on the new deals signed. A lot of new deals signed, ramped up quite smartly, but most of the gains were offset with the reduction in discretionary spend in a couple of verticals. This has resulted in our ITBS segment being flat in constant currency terms.
That's where we leave it on the show tonight. Thanks so much for watching.
Weather forecast now. Delhi, maximum 37 and minimum 27 degrees. Mumbai, maximum 30 and minimum 26 degrees. Kolkata, maximum 34 and minimum 27 degrees. Bangalore, maximum 27 and minimum 21 degrees. Chennai, maximum 33 and minimum 26 degrees. Hyderabad, maximum 32 and minimum 23 degrees.
Why does this happen? Let me tell you the science behind it.
For more informative videos like this, keep watching India Today News Mo.
You are watching India Today.
Hello, you're watching India Today and I am Aishwarya Paliwal. Let's start the show with the headlines. Paris gears up for Prime Minister Narendra Modi's big visit. Mega defense deals on the cards. Indian tri-service contingent readies to march during the Ballistic Day parade. The Bharatiya Janata Party deploys a fact-finding team in the state of West Bengal amid the Panchayat poll violence. The team now targets Bengal Chief Minister over the deaths. Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee claims this is a conspiracy and blames the BJP for engineering the violence. Former Karnataka Chief Minister Bommai leads the protest over the JNC's murder. He claims there is a flailing law and order situation under Siddaramaiah government in the state of Karnataka. The BJP is now demanding a CBI probe in the monk's death. CEO and MD of a Bengaluru startup firm hacked to death. Double murder accused, also known as Joker Felix, has been arrested. Employees killed over professional rivalry. Now, Paris is lit up with the Ballistic Day preparations. Indian tri-service contingent has been practicing across the Champs-Élysées. Indian and French Rafales have been flying over the Arc de Triomphe. Prime Minister will land in Paris at about 4 p.m. India time tomorrow. Gaurav Sawant is on the ground capturing all the action. Watch this exclusive ground report.
The streets of Paris are abuzz with excitement in anticipation for Prime Minister Modi's visit to France. Preparations are underway for the upcoming Bastille Day parade in Paris. And India Today has been given exclusive access to these historic preparations.
This is where Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the French President Emmanuel Macron will be watching the parade. Let me show you those images of the Indian contingent. That is the Indian Navy contingent. Up ahead is the Indian Army Rajputana Rifles marching band, and right in the beginning of the parade, that is the Punjab regiment.
On the upcoming landmark day for India-France relations, the French military will be joined by the Indian military as they march together.
More than 6,000.
6,000?
Yeah, 6,000 French personnel in total, including your contingent with us. A very good experience. I did not know much about the Indian contingent before they came to France a week ago. And since that, I can tell we have very good relationships.
We have a tri-services contingent from the Army, Navy and the Air Force, and the band from the Indian Army, which are currently here to participate in the Bastille Day parade. Now, alongside this, we also have two more representations, and that is, one is INS Chennai, which is coming to Brest tomorrow, and shall also be participating in the Bastille Day parade at Brest. So we also have the representation there.
France and India have expressed both pride and excitement for the upcoming events and ongoing cooperation efforts.
It's a very honor for us because we were operating 6 months ago off the coast of Goa with Indian Navy and Indian Air Force, and today being together for the 25th anniversary of our strategic partnership is very an honor for us. It's very powerful. It's a lot of meaning for the future.
This is an international friendship that has stood the test of time. The importance of this 25-year-plus military history is not lost on Indian officers, especially to the Punjab regiment that has been sent with the army, who were French honours from World War I to this day.
More than 900 soldiers from the Punjab regiment shed their blood on the soil of this very own territory that we are standing right now. And so it is a matter of huge pride for me, for my regiment and for the Indian Army to be able to have this amazing opportunity to march on Champs-Élysées on Bastille Day Military Parade.
The relationship spanning decades has translated to seamless defence ties today as well between India and France.
We have the old helicopters from the French, and we've taken the, for suppose Alouette helicopter, we've taken the Alouette helicopter and we've changed the engine to our own powerful engine, and then we've converted into something called Cheetal. And Cheetal is something that flies at the highest battlefield, and that is what is sustaining all the troops at the Siachen Glacier.
With Prime Minister Modi as the chief guest in the upcoming parade, India and France will honour their golden past and are looking at an even more prosperous future. With Gaurav Sawant in Paris, Bureau Report, India Today.
Continuous rains, flash floods and landslides have ravaged the state of Himachal Pradesh. Several tourists and locals are stranded in the hill amid massive damage to roads and also massive damage to infrastructure. India Today brings you the plight of all the citizens who are caught up in the flood-like situation. Watch this report.
After the deluge comes the challenge of providing relief. Hundreds stranded and suffering are now gearing up for an arduous journey to a safe space. With more than 1,200 roads out of service, the magnitude of the task ahead is evident.
So that's part of the hotel that has been completely swept away en route from Kullu to Manali. If you see right there, that is where the road had caved in, right there at the end. And from there on, if you can see everybody, a steady stream of those wanting to go back home or reach medical emergency situations as well. We did see one girl, a terrible stomachache, and there's no way because Manali, the whole infrastructure has apparently collapsed. They have to bring anyone who's sick to Kullu, and there's just no way of getting there because at this side is where the road is caved in. The administration says that side is, they've been able to open out a road, but that's witnessing traffic jams of over 11 hours straight up.
Wading through flooded waters, stung by a snake and with a drip attached, a woman was spotted trying to make her way to a nearby hospital.
मतलब ये है कि पतलीकुल में पुल तक आ सकते हैं आप, वो ब्रिज बंद है, ब्रिज के बाद आप या तो आप चढ़ के आओ या तो फिर आप पार ही रहो। हाँ, लेफ्ट बैंक से रोड ब्लॉक है, फिर आ नहीं सकते उधर को भी।
A pregnant woman displaced by her unprecedented floods was forced to walk till the nearest hospital in order to receive medical care. Desperate father carries his sick daughter on his shoulder, wading for hours through the floodwaters to reach the nearest hospital.
तबीयत ठीक नहीं है, तबीयत नहीं ठीक है, क्या हुआ?
Many villages washed away, many others cut off totally. People in need of medical care are struggling to get relief. A return to normal life is a long road ahead. With Preeti Chaudhary in Manali, Bureau Report, India Today.
Now, after 2 days of continuous rains, this has led to a lot of casualties and devastation. The northern state of Himachal Pradesh now faces the daunting task of restoring the roads, national highways and multiple infrastructure. All that has been washed away over the past many days because of the flash floods. Here's a detailed report on the trail of destruction that these flash floods have left behind.
The rain gods have relented. Himachal Pradesh gets a breather. After 3 days of heavy rains, the picture that emerges is of death, destruction and misery.
All I see the footprint of devastation here just along the Bias River. There you see the main road which connects Manali from the rest part of Himachal Pradesh is totally washed away. In fact, this is not one stretch. There are multiple such stretches, but this is being more than 200 to 300 and very critical important stretch strategically as well is now washed away, has been disconnecting people from one end to another.
Thousands of tourists are stranded in tourist hotspots in the hill state. India Today spoke to travelers from Telangana who are awaiting help.
The worst affected in Manali are the tourists from all over the country. Now there you see this is the group of tourists who have come from Telangana. Now all their efforts just somehow spending 3 days. Now they are en route back to home. But the only issue is that lack of transportation, since heavy vehicles like bus or any cannot even pass through these areas. All they are somehow struggling to arrange smaller vehicles, cab. They could probably drop them to Chandigarh airport, nearest airport probably, and from where they can have a flight.
हमारे पास से बड़ा बस नहीं जाता है सर ये रोड
गाड़ी हायर नहीं
गाड़ी नहीं है हमारे पास बस है
गाड़ी बोलेंगे बड़ा गाड़ी नहीं चलेंगे.
Transport and movement of goods is badly affected, with many roads still out of service.
आज लग रहा है जी 3-4 दिन तो नेट नहीं रहा ना रेंज आई ना कुछ ना काम आज लग रहा है आज सुबह से चालू है.
किसी तरह की व्यवस्था मिली आप लोग को यहाँ पे अभी?
नहीं व्यवस्था तो कोई नहीं मिली अभी. हम तो प्रशासन से चाहते हैं हमारे पास
राशन पानी था वही बाकी किसी चीज के.
कितने दिन का स्टॉक बचा?
अभी 2-3 दिन का है बस.
2-3 दिन का और बचा?
हाँ बस.
Authorities have ramped up relief efforts. Rescue operations and road restoration work have also gained pace. Many affected people have taken shelter in temples.
कुछ लोग जो हैं, जो दूर दराज के रहने वाले हैं, जो स्थानीय हिमाचल के ही नागरिक हैं, अब उनकी ज़िंदगी कैसे कट रही है? उनकी ज़िंदगी इस तरह के टेम्पो में कट रही है. जो कुछ बचा हुआ सामान था ये उन्होंने उठा लिया है, हटा लिया है. ये देखिए प्रेशर कुकर में यहाँ खाना बन रहा है और जो भी है यही जीविका है. खुद भी यही खाना है और इसी जीविका के साथ उनको जीना है.
Power and water supplies are yet to be restored in some of the worst hit areas. Himachal Pradesh is picking up the pieces after suffering flash floods and landslides triggered by the worst rainfall in many years. The road to recovery will be long. With Preeti Chaudhary in Kullu and Ashutosh Mishra in Manali, Bureau Report, India Today.
Now, a month after the Delhi police filed its charge sheet against Wrestling Federation Chief Brijbhushan Sharan Singh, the BJP MP still continues as the WFI chief. While the opposition is questioning why he is roaming free, Brijbhushan has hit back saying he has not been convicted yet. Take a look at this story.
Nearly a month after the Delhi police filed the charge sheet against Brijbhushan Singh, listing serious allegations and claiming corroborative proof, the BJP MP from Kasarganj remains the president of the Wrestling Federation of India. The charge sheet accessed by India Today makes grave accusations. The police say Brijbhushan is liable to be prosecuted for the offences of sexual harassment, molestation and stalking. 15 witnesses have corroborated the charges. The witnesses include 2 coaches. The charge sheet lists 15 separate incidents of harassment. The charge sheet includes photographs submitted by the athletes. Delhi Commission for Women Chief is questioning why Brijbhushan is roaming free.
सबसे पहले तो दिल्ली पुलिस ये बताए कि जब उन्हें पता था कि बृजभूषण ने लड़कियों के साथ यौन शोषण कराए तो उसको अरेस्ट क्यों नहीं करा गया. और दूसरी बात, मैं केंद्र सरकार से सवाल पूछना चाहती हूं क्योंकि बृजभूषण उनका ही एमपी है, उनका ही सांसद है. मैं ये जानना चाहती हूं कि कब तक बृजभूषण जैसे गुंडे को केंद्र सरकार संरक्षण देगी और बचाएगी. क्यों उसके खिलाफ अभी तक कोई भी कार्यवाही नहीं करी गई है. ये बहुत ज्यादा गलत है क्योंकि जिस आदमी की जगह जेल है, अब वो संसद में बैठकर देश के कानून बनाएगा।
Hitting back at the opposition, Brij Bhushan has accused the Congress of conspiring against him and his family, asserting that filing of a charge sheet does not make him a criminal. The WFI chief alleged that Congress doesn't have faith on courts. The BJP, which Brij Bhushan represents in parliament, claims the courts will decide his fate.
ब्रिजभूषण जी के मामले में कोर्ट ने संज्ञान लिया है और पुलिस ने भी अपनी चार्जशीट फाइल की है। उस चार्जशीट के अंतर्गत जो कोर्ट का फैसला होगा वो मान्य होगा।
While the law will take its own course, the moral question remains unanswered. Why is Brij Bhushan still in office? Bureau Report, India Today.
Now, the Bharatiya Janata Party has launched an all-out attack against the Siddaramaiah government over the brutal murder of a Jain seer. Now, staging a mega dharna at the Vidhan Sauda, the BJP now is demanding a CBI probe into this case. The BJP is alleging that the Congress government in the state has failed to carry out an impartial and fair probe in this matter. Watch the story.
Showdown erupts over the brutal murder of Jain seer Kamakumara Nandi Maharaj in Karnataka. The BJP, which has been demanding a CBI probe in the case, staged a dharna outside the Vidhana Sauda on Wednesday.
The Jungle Raj started in Karnataka within 2 months of Congress rule. Fear of law is not there, the fear of police is not there, and all the anti-social elements have come out openly, and now they are reeing the entire society here, and there is a fear among the common man.
BJP MLAs marched to the Raj Bhavan and submitted a memorandum to the governor. The party claimed that Hindus were being targeted ever since the Congress government came to power in May. The Siddaramaiah government has defended the police and assured a fair and impartial probe.
BJP can claim anything that they want. The Jain community, the seers of the community have come out and said that we are satisfied with the progress of the investigation.
The police have arrested 2 people in connection to the murder. The investigators claim the killing was over a financial dispute. Meanwhile, shocking details have emerged on how the seer was murdered. According to the FIR, on the night of July 5th, main accused Narayan, along with his friend Hassan Sab, allegedly tried to kill the seer by electrocution. When they failed in it, they allegedly strangled the monk to death with a towel. The duo then allegedly cut the seer's body into pieces and dumped the parts into a borewell. The accused also burned a diary belonging to the seer. The Jain community has held protest in various parts of the state condemning the act.
कर्नाटक के जो मुख्यमंत्री है, हम उनको आज ज्ञापन यहाँ जिलाधिकारी महोदय के माध्यम से देने आए हैं। उनको सख्त से सख्त सजा दी जाए और साथ ही जो ये केस है, जिसका जो ट्रायल है, फास्ट ट्रैक कोर्ट में किया जाए।
With Sage Raj, Bureau Report, India Today.
It is time now for us to slip into a very quick break. More news coming up on the other side.
You are watching India Today.
How many more lives? How many more houses? How many more vehicles? How many more villages? Annual nightmare drowns the north. India Today reports from every spot.
There are small children who are living in these houses, and this is the national capital we are talking about.
Each and every household, that's what we can see.
The holy shrine that saved Mandi from a disaster.
We report, we demand, we fix accountability. Maximum reporters, maximum coverage. Monsoon mayhem.
do you think the markets are headed? We've seen a very, very sharp rally on a year-to-date basis on the Nifty, and as also on the Bank Nifty. Many other indices are at record highs. How do you see charts? What is your understanding of fundamentals about this rally?
Sure. So, Shelji, what I feel is that, markets, after consolidating for almost 1.5 years, that is in October 2021, when we peaked around 18,700, and after that, we have been consolidating for a while, for almost good 1.5 years time frame. Now, technically speaking, this kind of consolidation breakout after a decent 1 to 2 years kind of phase typically leads to a very strong up move at an index level. So a lot of people are worried. They think that obviously markets have moved up very sharp in a very short span of time. So whether it's a good time to enter at these levels, wait for a dip, or it's kind of a sell on rise market. According to me, it's more like a buy on dips market, because there are some structural changes which is happening in India. First, RBI, when it paused its interest rate, that is how, we created a bottom in our market. Since then, we have been seeing very strong capex commitment by center, almost 10 lakh crore kind of capex. And if I look this number, if you put together addition of almost last 10, 15, 20 years, I think the kind of capex we are witnessing in this particular year has crossed this number all put together, which clearly indicates that we are shifting typically from a consumption-led economy to a capex-led economy. And we firmly believe whenever there is a capex cycle which starts, it typically lasts for a longer time. And if you look at the capacity utilization for most of the industries, they have reached 73-74% kind of levels. We have seen private balance sheets are improving, and that will eventually lead index to show further up move. According to my technical setup, till the time we don't see a breach below 18,500 on a sustainable basis, all kind of dips should be used as an opportunity to buy.
You are watching